Starting down the path of evil is like going for a day to the beach. It looks like an opportune time. We have no more work assigned for that day. Our hands are idle, and the sun is out. The light is beaming down from the sky. The weather is warm, and everyone seems to be going to the seaside to enjoy the moment while it lasts. The conditions are all just right for us, so we go. We bring our friends. You stand at the shore of the sea, staring out over the water. You do not know what is actually at the bottom, but the water looks nice from the short distance away. You imagine the water would provide relief from the heat of the sun on the warm day. You take a step closer to the shoreline. Gentle and cool waves sweep over the sand near your feet, teasing your parched skin, calling you deeper into the ocean. The pathway of wet sand, no longer fully dry, promises sure footing. Plus, it seems the wet sand is the cool thing at the beach for your feet to walk on. There are already footprints in front of you, leading to the water's edge. It feels good to walk out into the waves at the seashore and feel the wet sand under your soles as the cool water washes over the top of your feet. So you go a little deeper. You invite your friends into the shallows, and one by one, they join you as they see that what you're doing just fine so far. Plus, who wants to say no to an invitation to what seems like a good thing? So you go deeper still together. It is no longer just you, but rather now it is we. Congratulations, you're now a leader. With each step, you go deeper into the water and farther away from the shoreline. As you urge your friends onward, they cheer you on, and you all venture deeper. Suddenly, before you know it, the sand at the bottom is no longer directly beneath your feet. You have lost your footing, and the powerful tide under the ocean's waves sweeps you out to sea. Your friends, who once followed you willingly, now find themselves forced, but not necessarily by you, to continue on the path you set them on. It is no longer you who is the captain of the expedition in the sea. It is no longer you who are the master of your fate. Something far more powerful that you do not fully understand has now taken a hold of the group, and we can no longer resist its pull. Once out at sea, immersed in the salty ocean water, watching the light fade as the sun begins to set, we wonder how to get back to shore. As the sun goes down and the light fades, we lack the ability to see clearly. The temperature drops as the chill night breeze begins to blow across the open ocean. Larger waves move to and fro, blown by the wind, tossing us about in the open ocean. In the cold, wet, dark wilderness, battered by the waves, we are unsure of the way back to shore. We are hungry and thirsty for real food and real drink. As the weather gets worse, the legion of waves loom higher. The chill wind blows colder and stronger. And now we know we cannot stay afloat forever. Alternately swimming and treading water, our strength wanes. We still have not found the shore, and we realize that we need another way out, and quickly. So, we do what our panicking minds, addled by desperation and deprived of rest, advise us is a good idea as we contemplate death. To avoid drowning in the middle of the open ocean, we decide to drink the salty sea water. We reason to ourselves, if we drink enough of this salty sea water, dry ground shall appear below our feet, and we can either walk until we find our way back, or we can stay here and rest for the night. Everyone agrees. We are a team, after all, united in our stubborn determination to make a stand. We get after it. So, we start drinking collectively. As we gulp down the salty sea water, we start to recognize that this was not the best idea in the world. As we add the weight of the salty water to our already exhausted bodies in the midst of the open ocean, our muscles cramp from the combined effects of accumulated fatigue from swimming and the onset of dehydration from drinking the salty water. We start to sink collectively. Each of us fighting for the minutes and seconds of life we have left. Find the one of us who appears to be struggling most to stay afloat. We seize them, and then we push them beneath the water's surface. We push them underwater and make them a footstool for our feet, precariously balanced on their head and shoulders, hoping to buoy ourselves with what we know will soon become their corpse as they struggle against us for survival. As we do this, we too fight the ones around us to maintain our position on top of the sinking person. We have broken all bonds of friendship, abandoned all nobility, and revealed to ourselves and each other that all of us can be hostile savages, and to a degree that none of us individually would ever have thought possible, not even of our own selves. Suddenly, we all realize we are collectively lost out in the open ocean, dying together, drowning in the deep waters as our integrity disintegrates more with each selfishly ambitious act of stepping on the head of the one underwater to advance ourselves, and then envying the one who throws us from that position to take our place. Although surrounded by frenemies, we feel utterly alone as we each recognize that we are truly without a single faithful friend in the world. There is no hope for us that we can see, nor dream up by ourselves to escape from our impending fate out in the heart of the sea. Even if we did escape this death in the heart of the sea, could we still live with each other? Could we still live with ourselves? Fortunately, it is not the end. Not by chance nor fortune, but rather by design, there is an evening patrol of boats routinely sent out from the shore by the governing authorities on the land who are responsible for facilitating safety at the beach, which is under the ownership of their municipality. A boat that shines a bright light can be seen from far away. While it does not reveal the whole ocean, as the boat turns in our direction, the light shines a clear and certain path between us. The boat draws nearer to us. The headlights illuminate the dark sea as the light draws near. There is a glimmer of hope that increases as the boat gets closer. As the hope builds, so does fear. What if the captain of the boat sees us there, fighting each other in the middle of the waves in the dark ocean, stepping on the most vulnerable in our group, spewing sea salt and curses at each other as we wrestle against our own peers in our frenzied bid for a spot where we can enjoy just a few more breaths of air at the expense of whoever suffers under us? What if the captain judges us, turns the ship around, and announces that he did this civilized society a service by letting us drown? The captain may even get on the loudspeaker and blast the words for the whole patrol to hear. I see you, you bad people. Stay away from my boat. What if they drive the boat through our bodies as we struggle in the ocean, thus swiftly ending our misery, while justifying to themselves and others that this was an act of generous mercy to us and for the good of society as a whole? Or what if they altogether ignore our waving hands and our cries for help? What if they simply sail on, quietly withholding salvation? What if they pass on the opportunity to another boat, whose captain then does the same? What if no other boats turn toward us? The boat draws near, and the crew members reach out their helping hands and reassure us that all will be all right. They drag us out of the ocean and into the boat. They give us towels and fresh new dry clothes and shoes. We didn't have shoes when we entered the ocean. We had taken off the ones we had worn to protect our feet when we were still on land. As we sail back to shore, where we are certain awaits the judgment of our peers, their families, and the government for our actions in the ocean's dark waves, we wonder, what will become of us? All that we know is that collectively, we are now on the right path toward safety. We are saved, and not of our own doing. Our best efforts at collective preservation had led to chaotic fighting for self-preservation, bringing us closer to death. We did not orchestrate it. What we did plan had led us ever closer to our collective demise as a lost group of desperate people, trapped in unfamiliar territory, drowning as a result of our own folly. Now, we reminisce in silence, staring at the floor of the boat in shame, recognizing the weight of our collective failure to abide as responsible and ethical citizens of the very land we are being brought back to. We had thought we were decent people who lived good lives by a moral code, but our brief time of trial had shown this was not the case. We had broken our trusts and betrayed one another to death. We had abandoned what virtue we had. Moreover, the captain had seen it all. The captain of the rescue boat had seen us in our darkest moment. It seems odd that despite this, the captain had chosen to continue to close the distance between us, and when the captain reached us, we were then brought on board their rescue boat. The captain, despite having seen us in our darkest moment, did not hesitate in choosing to save us anyway. As we continue to sail back to shore, there is silence. We each quietly hope one of the others breaks the silence. An apology, a word of encouragement, a reassurance that there is hope for forgiveness. Beyond forgiveness, we can only dream of reconciliation with our government and with each other, and internally with ourselves. It all seems a fantasy, wishful thinking that we are individually convinced would prove utterly impossible. As we sail on in silence and regret, we begin to wish we had just died in the ocean. At least then, no one would know our struggle. Others would remember us for the way we used to present ourselves to them when we were still on dry land. We would have been crushed by the weight of the ocean rather than forever forward carrying the burden of our guilt. As the shore draws nearer, we can see the lights from the buildings on the horizon, past the shoreline, where people dwell. We wonder to ourselves, in silence, how many of them sometimes feel the way we do? We wonder to ourselves, in silence, about who else may have been in our predicament. Can anyone relate to us? If they could, what would they think? How would they feel? Would they even care? Finally, the captain of the boat breaks the silence. He says, "Over my many years of nightly rescue operations in this dark, salty ocean, I've seen several groups of people in what they sincerely believed would be the last time they get to experience life. Saving them and giving them a second chance at life is rewarding for everyone involved, but it is not my favorite part of the job." He continues, saying, "My favorite part is seeing how the group bonds from the experience of going through the process of being saved from danger together, and how those bonds of camaraderie and renewed friendship carry over onto dry land. The various groups of people may have had their differences that may have started that day as the sun went down and they were trapped in the dark, facing the grim reality of impending death. It is a joy to watch them reconcile to each other, rebond with each other, forgiving each other of what had transpired, reassuring each other in the present, and committing to move forward bravely into a brighter future together, with a little more awareness of the danger around them as they enjoy the beauty of this great country's nature. So I leave it up to you, he concluded. What will you do? With that said, the captain resumes sailing toward the shoreline. So, I leave it up to you. What will you do? Thank you.